Welcome to Build Your Maverick Business, the podcast for underdog, outlier, and renegade entrepreneurs. Brought to you by Strange Creative Studio. If you dream of going off on your own and launching your rebel empire, but don't know where to start, you're in the right place. We'll teach you how to use mindset, branding, and practical advice to build a killer business and transform your world. And now, here's your host, founder of Strange, Alex Pitt.
All right, you lovely lot, how's it going? I feel like at this point, this podcast is turning into Alex's festival diaries with a bit of business chat thrown in. I'm just going to say this one thing. I am off to Glastonbury tomorrow, and that is the last festival that I'm going to for a little while. Thank the heavens. I need like a spa weekend in between because I'm too old for this now. But, oh my God, I get to see Elton John. Yeah, another addition to Alex has the most batshit taste in music. I love Elton John. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, my absolute bop. So yeah, I'll leave you with that. No more festival chat. We're getting straight down to business today. So, now I was lucky enough last week to be a panellist, guest speaker on a fireside chat with my lovely friends at the Portfolio Collective. I love doing chats with this lot. They put on some really good fireside calls. And yeah, very, very privileged to be a speaker. Now, the chat itself was about vulnerability and personal branding. Now, I always get myself really riled up about branding in general, but especially personal branding, because it's something that I realise people get so in their own heads about, right? They get so confused about it and how they should be showing up for themselves, for their business. Now, when it comes to visibility and showing up for your business, obviously there's a lot of platforms that you can do this on. I am today, for the purposes of this episode, going to focus on LinkedIn. And I'll tell you for why. because of the nature of the platform, right? Because of the, let's call it the personas of people who use LinkedIn. You know what I'm talking about. It has become, I think, the place where it's most difficult to show up as your authentic self, right? To feel like you can just be you and post and have conversations and do whatever you need to do. Right, so I'm going to try and not turn it into a LinkedIn rant. I've done a lot of ranting recently, so I'm going to avoid going down that route. Yeah, I just want to talk about my understanding of vulnerability and authenticity. They are absolutely the buzzwords of the moment, right? Personal branding, vulnerability, authenticity. You hear it fucking everywhere. So I'm throwing my hat in the ring. I'm going to give you my penneth, dears, about what I have observed as an outsider and also as a participant. So yeah, there's a lot of places. There's a hell of a lot of successful entrepreneurs that do a lot better on other platforms. There's a lot of places that they can show up. Your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your TikToks. I'm using LinkedIn today for argument's sake. Here's why I'm so obsessed with the bizarre nature of this platform and how people show up. I had a chat recently with a lovely peer of mine, and I know that he listens to this podcast every now and then. So hi, Pete, if you're listening. I had a chat with a peer of mine, and he said to me what is still to this day the funniest and most accurate summaries of LinkedIn that I've ever heard. He said, my LinkedIn feed reads a little bit like a country music song. It's like, my dog died, my wife left me, I lost my house. Like, it just kind of has fuck all to do with work anymore. And that's one side of it, right? I find this is absolutely true. There are two kinds of users on LinkedIn. There's either your extremely corporate, posting facts and figures and doing it in a very monotonous tone of voice. Or there's people who share the deepest, darkest experiences, everything that had happened to them in terms of, you know, their personal life. It's like very, very different routes. And I think the misnomer that's happening, I think the misunderstanding here is that the people who are doing the corporate stuff are not being vulnerable enough. They're not being authentic enough. That I completely agree with, right? That I'm not even going to touch. Like, they can do whatever they want to do. The farts and suits can do whatever they want to do. Now, the route that I find so bizarre is those people who go down that extreme level of vulnerability. And I think that there are some people who it really benefits them and the work that they do to be that way. People, for example, who work in any kind of care, any kind of mental health. And it works very well for them and for their personal brand to be that level of vulnerable, right? To be putting their heart on their sleeve like that. What I am putting to you today is a third option, right? For showing up for your business. And this third option, I like to call being your fucking self. Okay. Right, most people think that vulnerability when it comes to showing up for your business means you have to share every remotely emotional experience, every personal tragedy that you've been through with your audience in a long form LinkedIn post. You have to wear your heart on your sleeve and talk about things that are very difficult for you to share and very personal. If not, then you're not being vulnerable and you're not being authentic enough. Now, I can see people panicking about being visible in their business because they are uncomfortable with the thought of that, right? They don't want to share all of those personal experiences on their LinkedIn feed. And I do not believe that you need to. Okay, like I say, unless it is relevant, unless it is helping attract your raving fan base, unless it is helping attract the kind of people that you want to work with, if being super emotional is going to do that thing for you, absolutely go for your life. However, to me, vulnerability is showing up online in a way that is actually you, not a work version of you. Not the version of you that is toned down, beiged up, stripped back, and presentable to the average old white-haired man on LinkedIn. Not the version of you that uses generic corporate speak to get your point across, because this is the workplace and you must behave. You know, you must not ruffle feathers, must not offend. Now, I had a one-on-one experience of this recently, and I really hope that she doesn't mind me sharing her story. I'm not going to use her name. Let's call her Sue, for argument's sake. But a fantastic peer of mine, someone who I really, really respect, who does incredible work. We had a call the other day, and she sent something over to me, which was a kind of a description of what she does, right? A description of the work that she does, of the value proposition that she offers, what she can do to change the lives of her clients. And the way that it was written was that real sort of generic corporate speak. Now, Sue, as we are calling her, Sue is not generic and Sue is not corporate. Sue is fun as fuck, right? She's so vibrant. She wears the most bright, gorgeous colours in her clothes. She is just the most fun, out there personality. There's nothing beige about her. And yet these words that I was reading felt so beige. And I said that to her, right? That was my feedback. I said, this is very accurate in terms of the transactional value of what you're doing, but it's not you. There is no Sue in there. Like, can you Sue it up a bit? Can you make it more vibrant, more out there? Because the kind of people that will really want to work with you will respond more to seeing your personality injected into the words that you're using, the language that you're using. Now, when I offered this to Sue, she froze up. She was like, nope. What the fuck do you mean, Alex? What, actually show up online as me? Actually inject my personality into the words that I'm using? Are you mad? Now, I have been so guilty of this in the past too, which is why I recognised it in somebody else. I used to write articles on LinkedIn to the tune of 5 things you should know about good design. And then it was just the most boring shite, like droning crap going. It was designed nicely, but again, there was none of my personality, no differentiation. Just generic and speaking to everyone. Now, in contrast, fast forward to now, I shared a post the other day, again on LinkedIn, but it was a hell of a lot more goth. It was a hell of a lot more street arty in the way it was designed. And I introduced it by saying something like, oof, have a look at this. Now, Alex from a few years ago Could never. Not even for a second. I would be so scared of people telling me off for being unprofessional. Now, I think the really exciting thing that's happening in the world right now, right? We are living in a time where professional, air quotes, in its traditional sense, that is on the way out. That is starting to dissipate. A fair portion of the world in the last few years has been through hell. And we just want real connection with real people, with real personalities that get us, that get what we're going through. Vulnerability is embracing your true personality, warts and all, and letting it flow the fuck out of you in your branding, in the way you speak, in the things that you choose to share. Like I say, if that is super emotional and you want to go down that route, then go for it, mate, right? Just find that raving fan base. But if that's not you, then it's not you. Now, I love a little exercise. I'm going to give you this little exercise, something to think about. Think about the thing that you want to share, the thing that you want to talk about, the talking point, whatever it is, the thing you want to promote, the thing you want to put out there digitally online. Now, I want you to imagine how you would speak passionately about that thing to your mate in a pub, in a bar, in a restaurant, after a drink or two, in a very casual social setting, right? No big audience, just you, your personality, and a friendly ear. What kind of language are you using? What gets you really fired up about that thing? How are you speaking? What opinions are you really sharing? That is authenticity. That is vulnerability. Not necessarily your deepest, darkest secrets on a LinkedIn post. It's just the unapologetic version of you. That's what the world needs to see. That is who we all need to hear from. Don't be shy, darlings. Show up. We want to hear from you. All right, I'm off to see Elton. Have a lovely week, and I will catch you here next time.
Got an idea for a maverick business of your own? Learn how to build a powerful brand that will get people obsessed with our online program, not just a pretty logo. You'll learn a simple step-by-step framework that will kickstart your killer brand and help you find your raving fan base. Find out more today at strangecreativestudio.com.